Hi teachers, my name is Lisa Coleman. I am the author and owner of Top Score Writing. Today is going to be a quick video on our new Florida edition curriculum. This curriculum has been finalized for 2nd through 12th grade and will be available for the 2023 to 2024 school year. With this curriculum, we have made revisions and added lessons in every single section of the curriculum. As a quick overview, if you take a look at the flyer on the screen, we'll start with what was updated in every single lesson to align with the new B.E.S.T writing assessment. Now, not only does this Florida edition curriculum align to the B.E.S.T standards, it also aligns to the B.E.S.T new assessment and the B.E.S.T new sample papers that were released from the state. So we have aligned everything to make sure your students will be ready and successful on this year's state testing. Now, if you look at the first box, aligned with B.E.S.T writing assessment, in every single lesson, this is 100+ lessons, we have revised every single prompt to meet the new B.E.S.T standard prompts. We've revised all the testing directions to meet the new testing directions that were released by the state. We've updated our rubric lesson. We've revised all of our checklists, and we've updated all of the curriculum language to align to the new B.E.S.T language. An example is B.E.S.T likes to use the word claim when argumentative writing. So we've updated the word claim. Instead of referencing, we use citations because that is the B.E.S.T language that is used on the rubrics and the sample papers. If you look under the blue box that says revised lessons, we have revised all of our wrap-up sentence lessons to match the new B.E.S.T sample papers, which shows wrap-up sentences need to not only close out the paragraph, but they need to bring in the next idea that is going to be introduced in that essay. Okay, so it not only needs to wrap up, it needs to introduce the next idea that's coming. Same thing with transition words and phrases. We have updated those lessons because now transition words not only need to be at the beginning of each middle paragraph, but within the paragraph, those internal transition words. And then we've updated our advanced transition word lesson as well. If you look under new lessons, we have added new lessons on advanced own thoughts and ideas. We know according to the rubric and sample papers, the state is looking for original writing. This means not only quotes and paraphrasing, but original ideas. So we've added advanced own thoughts and ideas. We've added paraphrasing practice lessons. We've added narrative elaboration because now the state is looking for narrative elaboration, which are those personal anecdote or stories. And we've added lessons on voice because the new rubric has voice on there. If you look over on the right side of the screen in the flyers, under new assessment and progress monitoring resources, we now have pre-test and post-test in every single section. We have skill checks. We have assessment practice, skill trackers, checklists, and anecdotal note forms. Okay, so we have updated every single lesson in some way, shape, or form. Now, because of the time, getting this ready for next school year and such a short notice on what the state has released, this is only available in print. Our digital has not been updated. If you ask for a digital quote, we'll still give you digital, but we will make you, sign or respond an email that you understand this disclosure here. And basically, this is saying that the digital license is not going to be fully aligned with the B.E.S.T writing assessment and test specifications. You can still use our digital license. It's 80% aligns, but we have not done all those updates that I just went over on this flyer to our digital, only in the print. So I highly recommend that schools purchase the Florida edition print only. We will work on updating our digital over the next year, but if you just do digital, it will not be 100% aligned to B.E.S.T, okay? So just make sure you understand that, and I have a little bit more information here. If you look at the yellow, in the Florida edition print, we've updated or revised 17 lessons. The digital, we did not make those updates. Okay, if you look at the blue, every lesson, activity, assessment was revised to reflect the new keywords, new genre titles, and prompts. That was not done in the digital. As an example, the digital still says informative writing and opinion writing. In the print, we've updated every single lesson to now say expository and argumentative. Okay, the digital has not been updated. We did not have the time in this small time frame that we have to be able to update over 700 videos and 700 PowerPoints. However, we will be working on that for the next school year. But for this 2023 coming up, the print edition is the only thing that has been updated for every single lesson. If you look at the pink highlight, it's important to note that if you just buy the teacher digital license, teachers are going to have to make adjustments to every single lesson on their own. So please make sure if you say it's okay, we got it, your teachers know every single lesson when they're showing a PowerPoint to the students and it says expository, informative, they're going to have to say to the students, we refer to that as expository, okay? Or if it says to make sure that you state your opinion, you're going to have to make sure they know that's claim. If it says we're going to be working on opinion writing, the teacher's going to have to know it's actually called argumentative writing. So all these things were not updated in the digital. So your teachers are going to have to make adjustments to every single lesson. Okay, so please note, I highly recommend doing the print this year. Okay, let me show you some examples of lessons and resources. If you have not been to our Florida specific page, it is topscorewriting.com/Florida. This is where you can find sample lessons, table of contents, free webinars, everything's free on here. So if you want a more in-depth look at what I'm going to show you today, please visit topscorewriting.com/Florida. This is a Florida page specifically dedicated to Florida schools. I want to point out some things real quick in screenshots for you. I want you to notice that every single section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all have a pre-test and post-test. For every genre, there's now a pre-test and post-test. So you can get that baseline, and then you can get that end post-test to see their growth, okay? Another thing I want to point out is you can see that there's the pre-test and post-test, and then there's additional lessons. So as you can see, lesson 67, there's paraphrasing practice. That's a new lesson. 69, own thoughts and ideas advanced, a new lesson. Narrative elaboration, new lesson. Voice, a new lesson. These are new lessons not only in section 3 argumentative, but also in section 2 expository. Okay, so we've added these new lessons because these are new things that are on the new B.E.S.T writing rubric. Okay, so that's why we've added these lessons. Okay, if you come down here, you'll see underneath lesson 51, it says assessment resources. In every single section of the curriculum, we have now added assessment resources. Okay, let me show you what these assessment resources are. Well, the first you're going to get is what's called a skill tracker. So we have now added skill checks in every single section. Skill checks are just quizzes, okay? We're just calling them skill checks because these are where we're going to start checking their skills and tracking it along the way. So let's just look at section 2 as an example, okay? Now these skill checks and trackers are in every single section, but I'm just using section 2 as an example. You can see on the skill tracker on the left, pre-test lesson 23 is the first skill check. Prompts lesson 25 is the second skill check, 27 third. So I put a red arrow in every single lesson. Every time you see a red arrow, that means in that lesson, there's a skill check, okay, which is kind of like a quiz. And what you're going to do is you're going to give that skill check, and then you're going to mark it on this skill tracker as proficient, approaching, or needs development. This is going to help us track students' progress throughout the entire section for every section. This is in section 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, this is really important because instead of just giving pre-test and post-test and not knowing what's happening in between, we're going to be tracking in between now. So these skill checks have been added in every single lesson in every single section in the print edition. Okay, remember this has not been updated in digital yet. Okay, so in the print edition, you're now going to have skill checks throughout the lessons with a tracker. So in that assessment resources, you're going to see this tracker here. Okay, and you're going to be able to add the P, A, or N. Okay, also in assessment resources, you're going to get these assessment checklists with directions on how to use these. Also conferencing notes. These are all resources that we go over in training with directions that are included within the curriculum. Okay, I want to show you some other things on the new lessons. I explained to you that we revised the transition word lesson. Okay, it's still there, but you can see we added transition words within paragraphs. That's new. That was not on the FSA rubric, but the new B.E.S.T rubric says they need to have transition words within and among. So now we're not only teaching those transition words at the beginning of each middle paragraph, we're teaching transition words within. Okay, so I gave you a glimpse of what that lesson looks like. Okay, we're teaching the between and within. Okay, all right, and then the other thing is in all 100 plus lessons, we've updated the prompt. The new B.E.S.T writing prompts are very basic, straightforward, one sentence. All of them that have been released through all grade levels are one sentence. So we updated them. Instead of giving you a 3 to 4 sentence prompt about alligators, it's just write an expository essay about alligators, just like the example here from the B.E.S.T writing assessment. Okay, so every single prompt times 100 plus lessons in 2nd through 12th grade has been updated to match the B.E.S.T writing. Okay, this is why it's so important that you get the updated print curriculum, because everything's matching. All the language is 100% the same. Here is a lesson that we did on advanced own thoughts and ideas. Remember, the new rubric, according to B.E.S.T, it puts an emphasis on original student writing. Okay, so instead of just having them do own thoughts and ideas, we came up with the QSS method, which you'll see in the curriculum. This is a brand new lesson, and it gives them questions and sentence starters. So now after they quote or paraphrase something, they will have a sentence starter and they'll answer the question. Okay, it's a very easy strategy to incorporate own thoughts and ideas, and it gives students that starting point of their thoughts, that question, and then that sentence starter. Okay, so it's getting kids to get those thoughts out on paper. Another important lesson that you're going to see is on personal anecdotes. Okay, this is part of the B.E.S.T writing. This was not part of FSA. If you taught during FCAT, this was during FCAT. These were those personal stories that you put in. I remember when, one time that's part of the new B.E.S.T writing rubric. Okay, so we added a lesson called narrative elaboration, and here's just a glimpse of that, how to add those personal anecdotes in there. And then voice. This is another FCAT thing. If you taught a long time ago, voice is now on the rubric. Okay, and we know voice is really hard to teach, so we came up with a very simple strategy on how to add voice in specific parts of your essay. We just didn't say add voice. We gave those 3 or 4 specific parts of an essay, like the hook, topic, sentence, wrap up, that are the most common places according to the B.E.S.T sample papers where voice is found. Again, we just didn't make this up. Everything stemmed from those B.E.S.T rubrics and sample papers and practice tests. So there's a whole new voice lesson in there. The other thing I wanted to point out, if you were not aware of this, if you go back to that topscorewriting.com Florida page, we put out an argumentative webinar and an expository webinar months ago. These are both free. They're about 45 minutes long. It goes in depth on the rubrics and the sample papers and shows you exactly what the state's looking for. Okay, so make sure you take advantage of those free webinars. So that's the end of today's video. I know it was quick. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown. Here's our number, my email. You can go on our website anytime. If you'd like a quote, we can get you a quote. If you want to adjust it, we can adjust it. We are here to help answer any questions. If you'd like us to jump on a Zoom with your team or even you, we're happy to do that. Answer any questions you have. You can give us a call, email, whatever's easier for you. We just want to make sure you have what you need for next year. I'm sure you all know, but writing is going to be its own category scored. So we know it's going to go back to being a big part of school grade. And with this Florida print curriculum, I can assure you that your teachers will have the tools and resources they need to make sure all of your students are prepared and can get that proficient score that they need for the new state test. So let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day, everyone.